going on, guys? Rated Designs here. Now, before I start, would like to say that my QuickTime recorder is what I'm using right now, and it did not record the voice, so I am going to be voice-overing everything right now. So, bear with me. I'm going to try my best, but yeah, so we're going to start off when we left off, which is, as you guys see, of course, just where we left off. Now, you guys should have a flare up top. If you do not have flares up top, it's not a big deal. Do what is to your liking. Now, also another thing that you guys all are going to want to have is make sure that your lighting is all correct. If there is a lighter color on top, you're going to want to keep a flare up top. If you are going, a layer, if it's a lighter color on the bottom, you're going to want a flare on the bottom. So make sure your lighting is correct. So what we are going to do is we are going to grab my brush tool and we're going to, add a few effects. Now, the first effect that I do really love to use on some backgrounds is, I believe, I know it's the number effect, which is some of you guys see the numbers going on. I have a lot of brushes, guys, just so you guys know, so it is kind of tough to find. I just basically take a white brush and I'm kind of just, what I'm doing is kind of making it raining numbers. I only do it up top. I don't like to do it on the bottom and throughout the whole background a lot, but in this case I will do it throughout most of the background. It gives it a cool effect. Now, I'm just putting them all over the place right now, just, stacking them up. Doesn't really matter where you put them. And we're going to grab an eraser tool and we're just going to erase gently in areas, just clicking and letting go of just areas, general areas. You don't have to erase the whole thing, but you're going to just click in general areas, kind of gives it that like broken up effect. It looks really cool. So hold on. And what we're going to do is we're going to set it to soft light or overlay, depending upon what you like. Doesn't really matter to me, but soft light is usually what is the best. But as you guys can see on my Typhoon background, it is, you can see a little number effect in the background. If it's too dark for you guys, I'm sorry, but on the actual resolution, you can go to Typhoon Cinema and check it out. But yeah, it carries throughout the whole background. So now we have our number effect, and we are going to want to open some flares. Now here's, not necessarily flares, screenshots, textures, whatever you guys want to call them. They're basically here for every, thing to use. So what I like to do is I screw through all these flares, screenshots, textures, whatever you want to call them. And, some of them I'll be like, oh yeah, this is good, and some of them, I just play with. But this is one that a lot of people do see that I use, and I'm going to use it in this one. It's basically an earth with a flare on top of it. And whoops, we're going to drag it in here, and we're just going to, make it smaller, little smaller, not too small to the point where you can't see. And we're just going to tilt it horizontally, and we are going to put it right behind the text in this area. And, it's going to give it an effect where it brightens up the background, but yet the text is still perfect, and we're going to set it on linear dodge. And we're just going to erase the excess. And now, after you have the excess erased, we're going to duplicate the layer and flip it horizontally. So transform, flip horizontally, and just drag it over so it looks pretty close to identical. And it gives it this really cool effect. Now, that is one of the things that you guys can do. Now, there's plenty of things you guys can do. Another thing is by adding different types of flares. Now, what I'm doing right here, guys, I know, is I'm just, erasing that globe area so it doesn't really mess with the whole contrast of the background. But, as I was saying, you can add different flares and different stuff. I do add these textures. Now, all these textures you guys see are these, like, textures that everybody has. Everybody has them now because of something that me and my friend Mercer found, and somebody leaked them. It was not me or Mercer. Somebody must have found them or something, and they leaked them. But I have a new one, which I will not be using in this background. It is called Spaceship Steel, something else after it. It looks really cool. But I'm going to just define a pattern with this cool looking pattern thing. And I'm just going to switch it to a purple. That's good. And then I'm going to hit Edit, Define Pattern, OK. Close that. We're going to close the other flare, and we're going to go in our background layer, click Pattern Overlay, and we're going to switch to the new pattern that you defined. And it should already be on soft light or overlay for mine, but if not, make it a soft light or an overlay. And I'm just screwing with the size, the opacity of it, just to make it look perfect. And I keep it on overlay or soft light, depending upon what you want. See right here, I'm just kind of trying to make it look right. Scale's a little too small. Yeah, soft light looks good. That's too big. Oh, well, that looks okay. Yeah, I'll just bring the opacity down. And yeah, that's basically, as you can see, there's just a bunch of little dots on there. And it just looks cool, gives it a nice effect to your backgrounds, kind of gives it that space age type stuff. And that's kind of what I shoot for in my backgrounds. Now, what I also do, and this is something that, some people basically choose to do, but, some others don't. But, yeah. I basically am going to go into this, one of my GFX packs, and I'm going to just keep selecting screenshots. Now, what I do is, this is another really cool effect that I do, is I take this screenshot that I have here, and I make it look like a lightsaber, almost like it's pointing and piercing through the text almost, and like out through the background. It just makes it gives it this really cool effect that a lot of people wonder how I get, but this is one of the ways I do it, is I just grab this, it's almost like a lightsaber, that's what I call it like a lightsaber looking screenshot, and I just switch it to linear dodge and put it above the text layer, and I erase the excess, and it gives it this nice popping out lightsaber effect, and it looks really cool. And I duplicate it and flip it horizontally, of course, so I do the same to the other side. Most of the time, you need to be symmetrical. Being symmetrical is the number one key to making a good background. If you guys do not know what symmetry is basically having one thing on one side. If you split a line down in between a rectangle, this is the best way I know how to explain it, but you split it down in half, and each side is it looks exactly the same. So yeah, that is basically that's symmetry in my way. But there may be better ways to describe it, but that's the only way I can describe it. So if you do have a better way, please let me know. But yeah, so basically the sides, people really like to add a lot to the sides, and I'm not a big fan of adding stuff to the sides unless it's requested. The sides are really, especially in a background, a partner background, the focal point is your banner right here. So, when you scroll down, the first thing you see, like here's my channel, first thing you're seeing is my background. You're not seeing, the sides, you're not seeing that. You want to see the focal point, which is the background, which is the banner. That is what a partner background is for. The sides, they're not necessary, but some people do use them, and I don't, hate on it, because I do use it sometimes too, but it depends on the background. Not a definite thing. But what we're going to do is I'll just add some to the side. So I duplicate the text layer, and I'm just going to pull it to the sides, and I make it perfect. And I add satin, and I just play with the satin, to give it that dark effect. And I give it about, yeah, it looks a little bit like that. And distance, keep that the same. And basically, it's just got that little line up top that gives it that lightness. We're just going to duplicate that and flip it and keep it exactly the same. Now, one of the things that I do see with a lot of the backgrounds that, and it's a pet peeve of mine, if you're going to make a background with text on the sides, especially a partner background, you're going to need to put something behind the text in the background, on the sides. You can't just have a top background with a bunch of stuff going on, and then the side just plain. It doesn't flow right. It doesn't flow at all. And what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to add some stuff. You're going to need to add that to that blank area right here and to this blank area. And one of the best ways is for grunge brushes. Another great way, which I think I'm going to be using grunge brush. That's pretty much the coolest way. Yeah, I'll use a grunge brush. But yeah, adding, cool grunge stuff to the sides, it just gives it this weird looking effect to it. It looks really cool though. Ooh, that's blue. But another way people do it is they add flares. Now, if you're going to use flares, okay, I get it, use flares, but don't overuse them. A lot of people overuse them on the sides and it just looks too bad. Like I said, it ruins the contrast of the actual background. It ruins the flow, it ruins everything. You need to make sure that the flow is perfect. Now, as I'm doing right here, I'm just erasing everything, re-putting it back on, reapplying the brush, doing everything. And I'm only doing it to one side, as you guys are seeing. You don't have to do it to both sides at once. You can always flip the layer as long as you're creating a new layer. So what you're seeing here is I'm just erasing. And that looks pretty good. I'm going to add a little bit more. That looks pretty good right there. And I'm just going to duplicate this layer and flip it horizontally. And move it on over to the other side. And it should be around... Ooh. Yeah, it should be around the same look. If not, it's okay. You can always touch it up. But yeah, that's basically the side text. I mean, got to make sure that it fades perfectly, of course. Everybody, everything, it's just the flow of the background. There needs to have that flow. So the one thing you guys need to have on the background, though, that I can't stress more is you need to have your name on twice. It needs to be up on the banner and it needs to be on the side, as you see. Reasoning is if the person does not make your banner name clickable, you know who it's designed by. Excuse me. But yeah, so that was basically how to make a YouTube background, a partner YouTube background in Rated Design's eyes. So I tried narrating over this the best I could. I think I did pretty good. You guys can tell me. Yeah, I just wanted to say one thing before we head out here. First thing is I really don't understand why I'm getting dislike botted. It's really hurting me personally. I don't see what the whole point of it is. I'm sorry to anybody that I have done anything with and done anything to. I really hope I'm sorry that anything I've done, I highly doubt I've done anything because, people hate because they just want to. But, and I'm sorry for that. But secondly, I really want you guys to go check out a few channels. I want you guys to go check out Flu Designs, Creative Arts, especially Creative Arts. He's got some really cool graffiti. You guys should buy some stuff from him, especially Flu, too, because he's got some insane speed arts. He deserves way more views on his stuff than he gets. And check out District 7. My graphics team, guys, help us out. But, yeah, so basically, guys, I just wanted to say, for 7K subscribers, which I only have 6.6K because of YouTube being stupid and taking away 400 of the deleted accounts, I will be giving away a 7K material pack. It's got a bunch of materials that I have made myself, materials that I've used throughout the time of me actually being a graphic designer, some old school materials that not many people use anymore, but I wanted to give them out because I think a lot of you guys would like them and incorporate them into backgrounds. And a bunch of materials actually that are textures, so I really hope you guys will enjoy that. So yeah, for 7K subscribers, that's what I will be giving out. Also, guys, please, for my last video, as I said, it did get disliked by it again. Please, I'm sorry for anything that I did, but like the shit out of this video. Show them haters that we don't have anything against them, all my fans. So once again, guys, thank you. Rated Designs. Check out my teams. Check out my Twitter, and like the living shit out of this video, guys. So rate, comment, subscribe, and my name's Rated, and I'm out.